All right, guys. Well, to continue on with our movie and TV news, it's just Adnan and I. My our co-host, my well, we're either we're both our causes and our big bosses when the time is needed. But anyway, we're gonna jump back in, and we have a couple more news pieces to go through. So this is a really curious piece. So J.K. Simmons has been cast as Commissioner Gordon in the upcoming Justice League Part 1. So, for those of you who know, J.K. Simmons played J. Jonah Jameson in the Sam Raimi Spider-Man trilogy, as well as the Ultimate Spider-Man animated series. Well, he's going to play the Gotham City Police Commissioner in the upcoming team-up film that's going to have Ben Affleck's going to be in it as Batman, Henry Cavill is going to be Superman, Gal Gadot, Wonder Woman, all the people, and this is, post Batman v Superman Dawn of Justice, of course. So Justice League, of course, they specifically said it's part 1 that he's cast in, which I thought was interesting because Justice League is a 2-part movie. So they said he's only playing him in part 1. So we'll see.
He'll turn up in part 2 when Spider-Man's there. You can get him.
Yeah, get me that Cape Crusader and that wall crawler. But this is, dude, it's curious news because when this was first kind of like pushed out there, some people were immediately like, oh, well, he's so not going to play J. Jonah Jameson if they ever do, like when they do the Spider-Man movies, if they want to include him, he's not going to be a part of it. That's what people are thinking now because, it might intercut. Like, I think they're going to start filming Justice League now, and they're about to start filming Spider-Man as well. So, I think he's a great actor, and I think he's going to knock it out of the ballpark. I hope we can maybe get the best of both worlds and have him also be JJ in a future movie. But I'm glad to see he's still kicking around, and plus he gets to have a sweet stash again. So
yeah, he'll don that stash and that laugh, which is iconic in the original Spider-Man. No, great casting, great casting, especially for his age. Like he is, because obviously he is getting along in his age, and like now he'd pretty much fit the bill for Commissioner Gordon.
Right.
And he does have his own experience in the former.
Right.
Not even MCU. Sorry, but like in Marvel movies, he's had his experience. He's very diverse in his entire acting range, and I think, like, just personally, I think he'd be a good fit for it. Shame we won't see him in the MCU anytime soon, but
yeah.
For the time being, I think it's a great casting. Like, I couldn't really see that many people filling up for that role.
Yeah, I mean, dude. Plus, taking the shoes after Gary Oldman, holy fuck! Like, that's got to be. You got to be shitting your bricks to be like, fuck.
Literally taking his shoes.
Dude, yeah, like, I gotta play Gary Oldman now. Oh my god, because Oldman, like, who do we have before? We had Pat Hingle, I think was the actor's name, that played him in the Tim Burton Joel Schumacher films, and that was a joke. Like, that was a joke, man. He's like, put the signal. He didn't do shit in those movies. Commissioner Gordon was a joke in the original Batman anthology films. And then when they made the Dark Knight trilogy, Gary Oldman was the first real actor on film to get Gordon and to make him, like an actual supporting player. Like, he was you bought him so well, and plus, god damn it, he did such a great job. So, J.K. Simmons is a phenomenal actor. I think he totally has it to do it. But man, like, my hat goes off to him because those are big shoes to fill. So, we'll see what happens. But cool. Maybe he'll be in a future movie too. Maybe he'll be in the Batman movie, and Batman will be rewriting and directing and all that stuff in the Batman suit, like he did for Batman versus Superman. Well, speaking of more movies, this is a big one. So, it was recently revealed that Chewbacca is going to be featured in the upcoming Star Wars anthology film that centers on Han Solo. So, basically, Bob Iger, Disney CEO, was revealed Chewbacca's involvement with the anthology film during the... Oh, God, I'm going to ruin this. The Deutsche Bank's 24th annual Media, Internet, and Telecom Conference. I hope I said that right. Describing the 2018 release as an origin story about Han Solo and Chewie. That's what he said. So that's curious. An origin story about. So maybe this is the movie where we see Han and Chewie meet,
Yeah.
which would be great because we see how they split apart in the Force Awakens, thanks to a certain scenario, and now
Too soon. Too soon.
too soon, yeah. And now we're gonna see how they meet, right?
Yeah. Yeah. It's. I want to be. I was obviously quite surprised. Not. Or, sorry. I was not surprised by this news because I always assumed Chewie would be in it, seeming as being by his side for God knows how many years.
Yeah.
I mean, in every movie, like, you know, it just goes hand in hand. You can't have like Han Solo without Chewbacca.
Yeah.
You can't have Lando without Mace Windu.
Oh God. In some cases, that's very true.
No, I'm quite happy with that. We'll see what happens with that. There's
Yeah.
still very few details in that movie, but interesting news nonetheless.
Yeah. Oh, and then the article goes on to say, although unconfirmed, it is likely that the Force Awakens' Junius Suotamo will reprise the Chewbacca role for the film. For those of you guys who don't know, Junius was Peter Mayhew played Chewie in Force Awakens, but Peter, has gotten older and his legs are a little bit. He's like, I think he just got surgery and he was crippled for a while. And so for any scene where Chewie was doing a lot of action, this other actor played Chewbacca. So supposedly people think that he's going to return because I think he's coming back for Episode 8. I can't remember. That's great. Yeah, man, I agree. I think it's going to be interesting. Their meeting is going to be something like Chewie's going to start choking Han when he first meets. It's going to be something fucked up. They have to do something like that to make it, funny to see how they met. But yeah, as a Star Wars fan, I'm so excited, man. It comes out May 25th, 2018. So, I'll be there. We'll see what happens. Maybe it'll be delayed to December 2018. Why not? Everything else keeps getting delayed. Okay, so we're going to close out our news with kind of like a double whammy, like a two-parter news piece here. One is very big news. One is pretty cool news. So here's the very big news. So the new Captain America Civil War trailer was released today at the time of this recording. And boy, is there a lot of stuff going on in this trailer. So, dude, I mean, let's get down into it. And remember, guys, go see this trailer so you don't get spoiled. A lot of stuff happens in the trailer. They keep showing a lot of really great moments between Iron Man and Captain America. Then all of a sudden, at the end of the fucking trailer, we hear and we see the webbing come down and yank Captain America's shield from his hands, and someone does a flip, and when they land, it's fucking Spider-Man, as played by Tom Holland. Dude, what are your thoughts, man, on Spidey and the trailer as a whole and all that?
Yeah, I was alright with the trailer. Like, I'm more leaning towards the side where I like my comic book movies and Netflix shows and kind of like how they're told. I've been more of a fan of that because I kind of felt a little bit of distance with Age of Ultron. I didn't really care about it. And like, I really, really enjoyed Winter Soldier, but I'm still not hugely keen on kind of Civil War and everything else. But like, what I did love was the fact that because there's been so many movies, the expanded universe is so huge. Just seeing characters blend in with each other is unbelievable. Like, seeing the little snippet of Ant-Man running up. Thingy's what's he called?
His arrow.
Jeremy Renner's character.
Yeah,
his arrow. Jeremy Renner's character. Hawkeye. He's running up his arrow. It was just down to a T. Like, it was really, really cool just seeing it.
Yeah.
And then just like everything else seeing it, and obviously the big surprise at the end, which was like which is enough to crash the internet.
Yeah.
I enjoyed it to a reasonable degree. I thought it was really entertaining. I thought it was good value, good kind of value for what it was worth, and it's going to be a big movie.
The suit is interesting too because they kind of went for it. It kind of looks like they got the structure of the suit from the 2012 Amazing Spider-Man film, but they got the colors of like the bright colors of the sequel Amazing Spider-Man 2, but then they also added in a couple of dashes of the Steve Ditko Spider-Man. Steve Ditko, of course, was the guy who drew Spider-Man in the first couple of issues and in his first appearance in Amazing Fantasy number 15. So I like that. I like how the MCU, they're like, look, we're gonna do an adaptation of the costume as he first appeared in the series. That is so cool because what's cool about it is you can continue forward and keep doing it, and it looks like the eyes can move because he kind of squints a little bit, which I thought was interesting.
Yeah.
And they went again, no raised webbing like the Tobey Maguire films. These are webbings that are kind of like what they were in the other ones. It looks great, man. The only thing is, I'm assuming this is a suit that Tony Stark gives Spider-Man. I'm assuming in the movie we'll see another more homemade costume because I remember they kept describing that it was like they said this looks like a suit that a kid could wear. Like a 16-year-old kid would make. I'm telling you right now, no 16-year-old could make what they
it looks
showed.
a little bit high tech.
Yeah. Like with the squinting eyes. So I think Tony Stark probably gives him the suit like at one point in the movie. I'd have to, maybe this is the second suit we see. But yeah, man, I'm super excited about it. And of course, this Spider-Man will be the next time we're seeing him is next year in 2017 for his own solo movie that's going to be co-made with what's it called, Sony and Disney. In which Tom Holland is going to continue the role, and Marissa Tomei is going to be playing Aunt May. And actually, this leads us to our next piece of news. So they announced a new actor that's going to be involved in Spider-Man. Teen sensation Zendaya, who is in the show Casey Undercover, Shake It Up, and Dancing with the Stars, is going to play a lead character in the upcoming Spider-Man solo movie that comes out next year. The character's name is Michelle, and they said that she is going to be a pretty big character in the film. Furthermore, apparently the Hollywood Reporter reported that her casting is part of the studio's plan to go heavily multicultural with the new film, so expect to see more diversity in the announcements to come. So, I really have nothing to say, to be quite honest. I mean, she seems like a pretty cool actor, and I like the work I've seen of her, and it seems like it's going to be an entirely new character. I don't remember anybody in Spider-Man's life named Michelle, so that'll be curious to see what direction they're going.
Yeah, maybe they're just going for a new angle, new characters, kind of keeping it away from the reboot side, even though it is a reboot. But we can all see seeing Uncle Ben die like 4 times to just get or 3 times or how many times we're doing.
Kill him again! Kill that bastard!
Spider-Man.
Well, no, you're right, dude. I think they are going in a different direction, especially in the Civil War trailer. He's already Spider-Man, so I doubt we're going to see his origins. Like, he's already Spider-Man. And so we're not again gonna see like you said, his Uncle Ben die again. See the fucking kid get bit by a spider again. It's like, dude, we get it. We know how he became Spider-Man. So yeah, cool, man. I mean, I'm all for it. I think it's really cool to give us all this news and tell us what's going on, and hopefully, it'll play out well, with what they're doing. But all right, cool. I guess on that note, we'll go ahead and we'll switch over to our final segment, I think. Our final, topic or whatever you want to call it for this episode. So this is something that's really interesting. It was birthed from a news piece that actually happened earlier this week, which we'll get into later on in the show. But Adnan was the one who brought this up. Basically, we want to talk this week about Microsoft and the future of its first-party studios. Basically, is a future partnership model, like Quantic Dream or Kojima Productions, something that could be, brought down the line with Microsoft. And the reason this calls to our attention is pretty, big news that happened. Basically, Microsoft earlier this week proposed a closure for Lionhead, the studio founded by Peter Molyneux, and canceled Fable Legends, which was scheduled to come out on Xbox One sometime this year as one of their big titles that they were, you know, uh, kicking around. The news actually was revealed from the official Xbox news wire by the general manager of Microsoft Studios Europe, Hanno Lemke. And basically, they said after much. This is a quote from Lemke. Quote: After much consideration, we have decided to cease development on Fable Legends and are in discussions with employees about the proposed closure of Lionhead Studios in the UK. End quote. So technically, the studio hasn't been closed, but saying we're having a proposed closure, that sounds like it's gonna get closed, very soon. So dude, what I mean, pretty big. Oh, and they also I forgot to say they did close down the Denmark-based Press Play Studios. They were closed down. They were known for games like Kalimba and Max: The Curse of Brotherhood, which was actually an Xbox Games of Gold. And because of that, Project Knoxville was also canceled as well, which was another game in development. So presumably a game starring Johnny Knoxville. No, I'm kidding. But seriously, on a serious note, what a bummer, right? Like to have basically two studios close.
Yeah, it was out of the blue, and it really wasn't handled well in kind of PR terms. But I'm not surprised. I should say, sorry, I'm more surprised Rare hasn't closed before Lionhead. Which isn't like in a way that I want those people to lose their jobs, but which like Rare is barely chugging along. It is running on nostalgia whilst Lionhead is trying to innovate and, innovate to a certain degree and kind of like keep itself afloat. But it's really surprising though, because like they had huge plans for Fable Legends, and I thought that was maybe one of their big titles of 2016, continuing on the greatest games lineup in Xbox history. They bigged up Fable Legends to be a big title, but obviously it's collapsed now with the studio. Maybe that's one of the reasons why they did it, because they just realized the game wasn't holding itself to a point where they could sell it. And, with Peter Molyneux gone as well, like a big character, Lionhead's just been kind of chugging along.
Yeah.
It has since, for years. But no, it's definitely interesting, because it raises the question of where the future is, because after all the stuff that we talked about last week with the merger between gaming and PC, and PC and Microsoft and everything else, PC and Xbox, and kind of like this as well, like the kind of closure of like a first party studio. What does it say? Because I did see that Phil Spencer though tweeted, said that it's a shame, but I'm still committed to first party development. So it raises the question where everything's going at the minute.
Yeah, it's definitely like a weird and dude, like you mentioned earlier, this is like kind of out of left field. I was actually talking to a friend of ours, Josh Miller. He was telling me that just last week they were still giving plans about the beta for Fable Legends, and they were saying like, oh, next week we have this plan and this plan. So this was definitely something that happened at the last second, at least that they were notified of it. Yeah, man, I don't know. I mean, this could be a number of things. It could be Microsoft is getting a little bit weak-kneed, and they're kind of like, shit, we need to do something. Like we're doing better, but we're not doing as best as we could do. Maybe we have to let go of some of these things that we're not that confident in. Or on the flip side, like you suggested, maybe they're opening up space to be able to do a partnership with Quantic Dream, like a partnership like type thing, like what happened with Quantic Dream and Kojima Productions, with not literally Quantic Dreams and Kojima Productions, but something like what Sony did with them on their own thing. Because, right, dude, like Sony's been getting a lot of exclusives lately. Street Fighter V, the Quantic Dream game, the Kojima's first fucking game with the new Kojima Productions. That's a lot of things they've been getting. And Microsoft, I mean, they had Rise of the Tomb Raider as a timed exclusive, and that's pretty much the only thing that I could think of aside from, some first-party titles. So maybe they are trying to make some space, right? Like by closing these studios?
Yeah, I think so. I think it's weird though, because I heard like just talking about it. We don't know what that plan is, what the direction is being on, because it's been changing like 15 times since that entire TV angle they did with Quantum Break and everything else with the reveal of the Xbox One since 2013 has been changing. And now I feel like with the PC thing, maybe they're looking at structure, maybe they are going to look at third-party partnerships, because I think that it does work in the sense of what Sony's doing with Kojima's what they do with Quantic Dream. It just makes more sense because it doesn't mean that you have put full faith in a studio. It's just you're pretty much just in bed with them and that's it.
Yeah.
Rather than owning them for what it's worth. But who knows? Like, it's a shame hearing that Lionhead's closed because it is like a very well-known studio, and especially in the UK, it's a huge studio. It's one of the the powerhouses. But if it had to close, it had to close for obviously it's not doing well.
Yeah.
Or part of their future plans.
I mean, yeah, it really is kind of weird to fully form, a thought on it because of that. I mean, plus, and dude, like Fable Legends, that was kind of a big game, wasn't it? Like that was one of Xbox's big exclusives. I mean, I remember Fable 3, I think, or Fables 2 or whatever, that I remember at an E3 they made a huge deal of that. Like that was a big thing. This is the equivalent of like if Gears of War Judgment had bombed so hard that they cancel like a Gears of War game or I would put this like, well, maybe not as high as Gears or Halo, but it's in like the same DNA as those. I don't know, man. I really don't know where you brought up some really great points a second ago, and I really don't know where Microsoft or what their plans are, what their intentions are. If I were them, if I was a betting man, I would say, you know what, you cleared out this space, all these studios, you have now like, possibly more funds to dedicate to other projects. You better go out there and start making some deals. Like call up Capcom, see if you can get Resident Evil 7 on Xbox One. Like that would be something I think that would fit really well on a Microsoft platform, is a Resident Evil title or something like that, and we've discussed that in the past, like that becoming an exclusive of some sort. On Xbox, or I don't know, maybe contact Sega or something, like make deals, make your system more like attractive, you got to do it, put the makeup on it, but I'd be very curious to see what goes forward, with this, and also, without saying, I mean, it goes without saying, but our hearts go out to both studios that closed. And I really hope that in the article, by the way, part of the news piece, Microsoft had said that they're going to try to see if there's space in their company for some of the people that were let go. So I'm really hoping that they can accommodate as many people as possible, because I know that's like, man, being jobless and it's not fun. So hopefully things will get cleared up for them, and we'll see what happens.
Definitely. So yeah, I think that concludes this week's episode of Gamer Headlines Show. Don't forget to follow us on Twitter at TGH Show and like our official Facebook page, The Gamer Headlines Show, for up-to-date episodes from Gamer Headlines' official podcast. Additionally, The Gamer Headlines Show can be found on Podbean, Stitcher, iTunes, YouTube, and of course, right here at GamerHeadlines.com. Thanks for tuning in. We'll see you next week.
Take care, guys.